For decades, the kingdom of Eldoria had known nothing but peace, nestled between towering mountains and flowing rivers. It was a land renowned for wisdom, bustling trade, and unwavering honor. But with peace comes comfort, and comfort often invites enemies. Beyond the menacing Black Hills lay the kingdom of Varkan, a realm forged in ambition, steel, and an insatiable hunger for power. For years, Varkan had watched Eldoria grow wealthy and complacent. And then, one day, the drums of war began to beat. As the sun rose, smoke billowed from Eldoria's border villages. Farms burned to the ground. Messengers galloped through the capital's streets, their voices hoarse as they cried out a single, dreaded word: war. From his palace balcony, King Alaric of Eldoria gazed at the grim horizon. He was not a king born of conflict. He was a man shaped by duty. And now, his duty demanded blood. Varkan had stormed across the border with an army twice the size of Eldoria's. Their soldiers were encased in steel armor, expertly trained, and led by merciless commanders. Fear, cold and sharp, crept through the city streets like a phantom. But fear alone does not write the pages of history. King Alaric summoned his generals. Among them stood Commander Rohan, a soldier who had been raised on the battlefield since childhood. He was a man of few words, his face a map of scars, his loyalty absolute. We cannot win with strength alone. Rowan's voice was low but steady. We must win through sacrifice. Eldoria's army prepared for battle in the fields of Ashenvale, a narrow valley squeezed between two mountains. It was the only terrain where Varkan's superior numbers would mean little. Rohan knew this land intimately, every hill, every rock, every shadow. As night descended, soldiers sharpened their blades and whispered prayers into the cold air. Some thought of their homes and families. Others contemplated their own mortality. At sunrise, the enemy arrived. The ground itself seemed to tremble as Varkan's massive army marched forward, their dark banners rising like a storm cloud. Their king, predictably, did not ride at the front. Cowards rarely do. The war horns blared, and in an instant, the world erupted into chaos. Arrows rained down from the sky, a deadly swarm. Shields clashed with a deafening roar. The scream of steel against steel filled the valley. Rowan commanded the center line, a human wall holding the narrow pass. Wave after wave of Varkan soldiers crashed against Eldoria's defenders. They were outnumbered. They were growing weary, but they held their ground. They did not retreat. Hours bled into one another. The ground became a grim tapestry of fallen bodies, and the rich soil turned to thick, red mud. And then, betrayal struck. An ober from Eldoria, his honor purchased by Varkan gold, opened a hidden gate on the eastern side of the valley. Enemy cavalry poured through the breach, a tide of steel and death. Eldoria's line shattered. Panic began to spread like wildfire. King Alaric watched from a distance as his kingdom crumbled before his very eyes. In that desperate moment, Commander Rowan made a choice that would echo through the ages. He ordered the retreat, not for himself, but for the kingdom. With a small, devoted band of soldiers, Rohan stayed behind, a final, defiant stand to hold the pass. They fought with the certain knowledge that they would not see another dawn. One by one, they fell. But their sacrifice bought something priceless. Time. Time for Eldoria's army to escape and regroup. Time for hope to find a foothold. That night, as fires from the battlefield cast a hellish glow across the valley, King Alaric walked among his wounded soldiers. He slowly removed his crown and placed it on the blood-soaked ground. "I will not rule a kingdom built on cowardice," he declared, his voice ringing with newfound resolve. "Tomorrow, we fight, not as soldiers, but as brothers." At dawn, Eldoria's army returned to Ashen, but this time they were not defending. They were attacking. From the mountainsides, boulders and fire rained down on the enemy. From the forests, archers unleashed a storm of arrows. From the valley floor, a wave of pure fury surged forward. Varkan's army, exhausted and bloated with overconfidence, was caught completely off guard. Their formation collapsed. Their commanders were cut down. When King Alaric finally reached the enemy's main standard, He held up Rowan's broken sword for all to see. The sight shattered what was left of Varkin's morale. By sunset, a profound silence had fallen over the battlefield. Varkin's army was in full retreat, their dreams of conquest broken and scattered. Eldoria had won, but victory had come at a steep price. Commander Rowan's body was found at the pass, surrounded by a mountain of fallen enemies. He was still on his feet, still guarding his kingdom, even in death. King Alaric ordered a monument to be built at Ash. It wasn't made of gold, nor did it depict kings. It was a simple stone statue of a lone warrior, facing the mountains, forever standing guard. Years later, when children would point to the monument and ask about its story, the elders would tell them that is where Eldoria chose honor over fear, because kingdoms are not remembered for how they rise, but for what they are willing to lose to stand their ground.